Hi. We were asked today, how can you center some text in toddle? And actually, you can't at the moment do text align. So I thought that would probably be a good video implementing text align and then showing how we're building toddle in toddle. So here I have toddle loaded up in the editor. You can see our website here. So the whole of toddle is built in toddle, including website, editor, and everything. I've checked out a new branch. I've called it text align. And what we want to do here is we want to take this text. Let me just find a better example. Yeah. Oh, here we are. Styling, of course. Put that over there. So on this text accordion here, we can set the font, we can set the font size, we can set font weight and color, and we want to add some buttons that lets us pick between align left, center, right, and justify. And we're going to do it exactly the same way we're doing up here. So I think we're going to pretty much entirely just steal this layout and plop it into text. So let's actually start by doing that. Let's go and find this content layout component and then just copy one of these rows. And then we're going to plop it into the text component over here. And then we'll swap out the icons and update the functionality. So this component right here, I know is called layout. So I'm going to go and grab that. And so you can see this is the same component we have over here. But this is where we build it. We got it loaded up in the editor. And I'm just going to steal this. We're just going to move myself over there. I'm just going to go and steal this whole div because it's got all the stuff we want in it, right? So I'm going to just take that and press Command Copy. And then we jump into our text styles. And I'm going to go and put that inside this sort of body of the accordion. If we go into, we can see we have the accordion here, and I just plop that into the bottom here. Let's go and take the paragraph, change that to align. Maybe alignment. I think we're going for alignment. And then we don't actually need all these buttons here, right? Because we're going to change them out. So I think we'll start by removing all the ones we don't need here. We'll sort of start with one, and then we'll duplicate that once we've got it going, right? So what we already have, because we copied the bottom, we always got the styling, we've got the hover styling, we even got the sort of pressed styles. All these things is already set over here. But we don't want this icon align button, so we'll get another icon in. So we'll go to table icon. We get a lot of icons from here. They're really good, high quality icons. So you can go to tablericons.com, go and search for text align center. We got them lined up here, all of them. So that's kind of perfect. I am going to go make sure my size is set to 20 and I've got current color. That just sort of makes it easier when I copy the SVG to set these ahead of time. But you can also change it later. So I'm going to press one of these that copies it to clipboard, and then I can go directly into toddle, select my button, and paste directly into that. And we're just going to clean out this old icon as well, right? So now I've got my SVG icon in here. It's loaded, and it's copying all the default attributes as well. And it's got the width and height of 20. I like that. That seems to be the right size. And here, the current color put into the SVG here basically just says it's going to pick whatever font color that's set. So if I go here and change the font color to something fancy, the SVG icon is actually just going to copy that, which is really nice, especially when working toddle, because it means you've got a nice interface to set colors of icons and everything. So yeah, adding the icon change to that is easier. Copy pasting it inside from table icons inside toddle. So now we've got our button here, and visually it works the way it should, but there isn't really any functionality to it. Actually, we copied some functionality over when we copied it, but it doesn't need to do whatever that was, because that was a different component, different context. So we're going to clear out that event. The first thing we're going to do is to make sure that if we currently are set to align text left, if that's the styles we have, we want this button to be highlighted, right? And that's kind of the same problem we had with the align in the layout where we stole this button from. So the way that's done is it has a class on it. And that class has a function or a formula over here that basically dictates whether that class should be shown. So when the class is active, shown, we've got the styling up here. And that basically says I'm going to change the background and the text color. And when active is not true, then it'll be the default styling. So we want to change this class right here so that when we are aligning text left, then we want that to have the class active. And the way this component, the text component, works is if we look over on our data tab, it gets a style attribute in that has all the current styling that applies to this element. And then it can emit a change event that basically says, this is what the styling should look like now. So when we click this button, what we want to do is we want to take the input style from the attribute, that object. Then we want to change the property called text align to be a new value. In this case, when we click this one, to be left. And then we want to emit that as a change event. And the rest of Toddle is then set up. There's a component above that that'll carry that and eventually send it to the server and everything. But for now, all we need to worry about in this setup is like, how do we do this in this one component? The power of components here really is that you don't have to worry about everything that has to happen. I don't need to worry about how am I going to tell the server and database and everything about this change. Right now, this component just has one job. It takes the style in, and then whenever I click around in it, whatever I change, it's going to say, well, this is what the new style looks like. So we got our button. As we said, the first part we need to make sure is we need to figure out when this class is set. Right now, this looks pretty confusing. That's because, again, we copied this component, this button from a different component. So it has different attributes, it has different everything. So most of the logic for this won't really work. So we're just going to cut that out. But what we can do is just add a new formula for it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my style attribute, and then I'm going to say if the style text align equals left. And that's basically saying if the style we've got set is left, then this is true, and therefore this element will have this class active. And if you have a look now, you can see now it's highlighted because it is true. We're actually going to modify it a bit more because we want to add one more, which is that default to left. And the reason why we're adding that is because left is the default. So if this text align style is not set at all, and most styles are generally not set by default. We don't add the data for everything. There's a default styling that we fall back to. So if it hasn't been set by the user, just assume it's left. So that's what this one does. Just show it as left. So that now works. And the other thing we need to do here is that when we then click this button here, we want to update that. And we said we're going to take this change event and we're going to trigger that. And this change event, the data it needs is this style object, just like the one it gets in. So we get the style object in, we have to send it back up to the parent component. So when we click, we're going to go and say, trigger the change event. And then right here, what we want to do is we want to start out with our style object. And then we need to set this text align property. And we do that by adding a formula at the end called set. And then we put the name of the key we want to set, in this case, text align. So we write text align. And then the value here that we're going to add is going to be left. Because every time we press this button, we set it to left. We never set it to anything else with this button. When we then copy to the other buttons, we'll change these things, right? Right. So now we have a nice button. Here's alignment. We click it. It'll set the text align to left. Now we only have one button, and left is the default. So right now it's not doing a whole lot. But let's go, and if we hold down Alt and drag this, we can sort of duplicate. There we go. We can duplicate an element. So we're going to take this button and duplicate it again. And then I think in this case, we're going to go back to table icon and pick our align center. Add that in here. So now we've got left and center. And then for this button, we need to go and change a few things. Our click event. Right now, we need to change this to be center. And if we go to, not styling actually, that's fine, but to attributes, we need to change when is this active class set. Because right now, if we look, they're both active. And that's because they both have the same logic. They're both saying, if the text align is left, I'm going to have the active class. But this, of course, doesn't need to work like that. So we're going to go and change that to center. And then we're going to delete this default to, because it's only text align center if that's been explicitly set. Right. So now we've got, that's fixed. We've got the next button going. We're just going to do the whole thing once again. And this is going to be right. Let's go and grab the icon. There we go. Once again, we change the attribute to be right. We change the event again to update text align to right. There we go. Getting there. And once more. Oop, there we are. The final button, let's just collapse some of these. That makes it a little bit easier to see. The final button, we cut out the SVG. We're going to go grab our, where is it, justified? That one. And we put that into the final one. We change the click event to justified. And we go back and change our, the attributes, not the styling. Attribute, we change that to justified. So the attribute says, should this button show as being the selected one or the active one? The event is when we click it, we're going to update our data to show that instead, right? So now we've got our all our buttons set up. It's looking pretty good. Let's go and see if this works. So I'm going to go on to my preview environment, open up the app. We're going to scroll on to, I'm just going to open the same project and the same branch again in Toddle. The difference is that if you look at the URL, this is the actual sort of Toddle editor. This is me running the text align branch. So I'm now viewing the Toddle editor in the branch I'm working in. And that lets me preview in the editor the things I was just doing. So we'll go, and I have a personal component I usually play around with just for testing. Let's go and clear that out, and we'll add in a heading 1. And it's got some text in it, so this is kind of perfect. Once we select the heading 1, we can open up our text panel over here, and we can see we've got our line items. It's set to default to left. That seems right. Let's try and change it to center. Absolutely nothing happened. We changed it to right. That did work. And justified does seem to work. It's a little bit hard to see. Okay, somehow, center did. Aha. Okay, so it does seem to be working. Maybe we just had a little bit of delay. Let's just double check that that we didn't introduce a bug here. Because that did seem to be some funny business with the first time we clicked the center, wasn't there? Let's try and clear that out, add a new, just to make sure that we don't have any issues. There we go, heading. No, actually that works. I just misclicked it the first time, I think. So anyway, that's what it takes. So now we can align text in Toddle. We can align left, center, right, and we can also justify content if we want to do that. Perfect. So thank you very much, Emil, for flagging this. Let's go and publish this, and then you'll be able to center and align text. So by publishing, we go to our project panel again, click the publish button, and we can see we've changed these two components, text stars and Andreas, and I'm gonna go and check here, add alignment, allow users to align text, and then always have like, what do we want for pen? Let's do some, that looks good. Add a little emoji. Let's go and publish that branch. Now that's been published, so we can delete it. Because we deleted it, now our branch is gone. And here we can go back. If we refresh toddle now, actually we probably need to go and check a component that or a branch that works. Let's go back and grab. We're just gonna borrow one of Eric's branches here just for demo purposes. We could have also used the main branch. So as this branch is loading, let's go and see. Yes, we've got all our new changes in. It's live. We're ready. Emil, I hope that helps. Thank you very much for flagging this issue. Keep all the good feedback coming. We really appreciate it.